Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. Crypto market faces short-term bearish sentiment after the Fed left the interest rate unchanged at 4.5%. The reaction in general markets seems to be pretty flat. If you ask my opinion, there is a little bit of red, but it's kind of compensating as well with the green. And when looking at the S&P and Nasdaq, we are pretty much in the same place we were yesterday. Nothing really changing. Slightly in the breakout area, slightly below support. It depends on the symbol you're using really when it comes to a weekly breakout. Yes, this is a video about Bitcoin, but we need to look at how the general markets react. Definitely there's been some volatility. As you can see in here, the highest price on the daily has been around 105.5, and it's been now 3 times in a row that we test the green support. Yesterday it was a good opportunity to enter at support that produced around a 2% maximum of upside since yesterday test, and today we pinch it once again. That is 103.3 roughly, and I remind you that I remain convinced that if we produce a breakdown in here, this at least should lead towards the point of control at 96.3, but actually the next support is the global support at 25 RSI, which today sits at roughly 90.5k. If by the end of today we were to start a little bit of a rally, the levels that we need to keep to really believe that something new is happening is we need to break beyond the 55 on the daily, which is located at 107.7. Anything below that, we only have that 106, which is the top of the range on the volume profile. So you could say between 106 and 107.5, there is that band that defines the difference of the breakout versus the breakdown. Many people are considering actually to start re-entering. So let's see what else is changing since the morning. Remember that I publish a video twice a day on Bitcoin, and I am testing this new approach of covering multiple coins just with 5-minute short updates. I hope you're liking the new approach, because at least in the beginning it's quite a lot of work and research to put out all this amount of analysis. Definitely is helping me with my trading, so I hope it is for you as well. Aggregated open interest remains in the breakdown, so that data point really doesn't agree with the move up. This is how I left the Bitcoin status yesterday, this morning, and the only thing I changed was to put question marks here for the potential revenge move. Since we are testing support for a second time, we still don't put a new low neither on the 4-hour or on the daily, so that is intact. But today in the morning I was thinking maybe we go to 40.54 and we test at least that as part of the development of this initial bear flag going into 106.2, but we couldn't even do that. It can still happen, of course. This same candle can bot up. If it gets bought up until 105, it's got a good likelihood to go into 106.3 and then kiss the previous support, completing the revenge rally. Same as in the morning, we are back again testing the CPR pivots, and we are at the very lows of longs in this recent range since we started from 74. If you're not familiar with the indicator, that is bullish. You can always join my Telegram channel, the link is in the description, and click on TTP charts and then request any of the charts that I'm showing in this video. That also includes the SOPR and all the other indicators. The selection is based on what I find helps me the most to find the best setups. Joining is for free, and you can pull up to 2 charts a day. If you really want to support the champ system, my team, my channel, and everything, you can always join and get a subscription. For the first time now we are in neutral after a long time. Let's have a look. When was the last time? Actually, that's my bad. That was on the 6th of June. In terms of liquidity pools, as I mentioned this morning, on the 15 minutes we were breaking down. I don't really pay that much attention to 15 minutes to make decisions, but apparently this breakdown is currently still in play. Of course, this is not an area to enter a short from here. This could well form a double bottom and go back up and hit 111 again, but we are very close to this liquidity at 102. This starts from 102.341, and then we get the 100k. Just doing an extension of 1 takes everything up until 99,700, and a golden pocket takes us into 96. So just be aware of those potential targets, but please, if you're a beginner, I'm not telling you to short this area. That's something I'm not gonna do. And we are again on the daily testing the point of control. Remember, point of control is the area more traded with most volume. That's an area that people really like to trade, apparently, which is currently 104k, and it helps us define in all this trading range the different difference between being bullish or bearish. Crossing beyond 104 puts us in the bearish side of the spectrum of volume and increases the chances that we go below 100k. So far, we are still holding it. Let's look at the order book, and I have noticed that this week has been pretty much the theme that there almost is no volume, no liquidity in the order book. If you zoom in, you just see very small chunks. Each of these bricks are 100, 200, nothing. The previous week, we were overpopulated with speculators trying to short, trying to long, and you can see they got all liquidated. Maybe that is the reason, but it normally doesn't take that long for the flies to come back to smell the shit. And so far, we only have this resistance at 110k, and below the price, there really isn't anything to look at. On the month, on the liquidation heat map, 110 still is the biggest level. Below 100, there is a lot to have fun with, but nothing comparable to 110 at this point. To be more precise, the highest concentration is at 111, and to wick down and do a quick move, if we were actually bullish and we were just pretending to go down, a good candidate for that could be 102,770. You can see that today there are no aggressive market buyers, which started my questioning, which I was sharing earlier in my Patreon group. What is going on? How come this moves into 106 and the order book doesn't show any liquidity from limit orders? Neither the CBD is spiking. So could it be over the counter orders or something else that drives the price into 105? I literally spent 5 minutes looking at this and seeing no orders in here, and price was still moving into the area of the trap. Is this a new trick? I don't know. Will it last? I don't know. Let me know which YouTube channel I should be watching to expand my knowledge. That channel used to be the channel from Patrick, but they put it down, so maybe every channel I discover, they close it, just like people do with the restaurants. Every time I have a favorite restaurant, they close it down. Maybe it's just too good, too much quality, and they go bankrupt. I don't know. Going back to topic, you can see that at this point in time, we have a 0.06 of bit liquidity defending the 104. And remember, that's a ratio. So the ratio can be very high because really there are loads more of limit orders below the price compared to above the price, which makes it turn into blue and increase the ratio. But maybe the overall amount of orders can be extremely thin, which in my opinion is very dangerous. We should not use the bid-ask ratio, the order depth, or any of those sources of data if we are seeing that there is very little volume. The point is, it's a lot easier to manipulate. So I'm showing you blue 0.06, but I really cannot action it with confidence that it's gonna give me a great hedge. Something that is happening at the moment is with this move down, we are entering into the negative funding rates, and that is typically a buy signal. If you scan with your eyes every time we enter in the red in the funding rate in here, you're gonna struggle to find times where the price doesn't go up. Negative funding rates implies that there is just too many shorts, and we are already looking to leverage squeeze that was showing that we were at the smallest amount of longs since a long time ago, pretty much since we started rallying from 74k. So people are getting really excited to short 104k, push it below the point of control. But with negative funding rates, that really doesn't put you in a great situation in a bull market to short a negative funding rate. What are you thinking? In this channel, we trade data-driven decisions, and this, we could say, it gives you a yellow flag for a short. It kind of supports a lot more taking a long. Now, that long, I'm telling you, I am seeing low quality in the developments, which doesn't really convince me yet to take that long and to share it with my Patreon community. After all, I am addicted to good quality entries. I'm not necessarily always enjoying to wait so long for that, but once I catch it, I look at the prey and I start devouring the juicy bits. Then I feel like a lion. So if you want to be the prey, well, this is getting awkward. Let's go back into topic. Liquidation levels, the delta is still in the red. This is putting the shorts at higher risk. We talk about the funding rate, so this is supporting it, though the cumulative delta is not that big, not necessarily contributing that much to the narrative of the shorts being in trouble. We got this fair value gap here located right above the price, and I've been very tempted to enter a potential W pattern in here to once again go for the 107. I just feel like we have overused that trade. I don't know if you get the same feeling as me, but if I enter a long in here and I exit at 107, and then I take another one to the top, and then I take another from 107. Well, at some point I feel like it could expire the opportunity and really take us into a completely different range, maybe starting from the low hundreds or maybe slightly below hundreds. At some point will make a lot more sense. If you cannot resist the urge to enter support, consider at least tightening your risk exposure, either by going smaller or tighter with the stop loss. And I wanted to show you a great gem in here. I have shown this in the channel, but this will be a sweet update. In 2021, we have this shape in here that looks a little bit like the face of a robot with an ugly, typical robotic mouth in here. This was holding this support all history. We're talking about the USDT dominance, right? So going up for USDT dominance means that we are in bearish territory, and all those moves down means that USD is translating into altcoins or into Bitcoin. So one day the story says that I saw this pattern in here and I saw this high from here, and I decided to copy all these candles and overlap them into this area. That gave us that bottom in here, and I connected with this area, and it told us that USDT dominance was gonna go up around this area, and then it told us it was gonna go down to this area, and now has been telling us for a month, which I already covered probably a month ago around mid-May, that the next step should be to go around 5.4 in USDT dominance. It's been quite a long time now that the fractal is playing out. We connected these dots in August 2024 and we are in June 2025 and we are still repeating the fractal. So who knows, maybe we're gonna get around the 5.4%. That means more bleeding because at the moment we are at 488, so we still need to move 0.5% higher. But in terms of timing, that's pointing to the last week of June, where we should be totally allocated and expect a USDT dominance drop of 20%. And if you know what I mean, 20% drop of USDT dominance means that everybody's buying and the alts are pumping. Pumping into when? Pumping into 4th of August. Now, this move, if it played out, that is a massacre, right? You're fully invested at 427 and then you rally the USD dominance to 978. That is a catastrophe that ended in June 2022. And if it play out in here, you don't want to be invested in anything really. Anyways, I hope you appreciate the last bit. Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember the $500 position airdrop that you can pick any of these coins. The link is in the description. Follow the instructions and remember my campaign. Well, campaign 2.0, win a Model 3 with bluffing, non-KYC exchange, get 10% cashback, up to 3,000 in future bonuses. Campaign is still valid until the 2nd of July. See you on the next one. Bye bye. Sorry, are you still waiting for the wrap up? Okay, wrap up, no trade. Sorry, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.